I'm going to do an insight video today. I've talked about a lot of stuff around like source and like oneness and the power of now moment and the frequency around sort of creation and consciousness, and that everything sort of like happens through you, for you, and as you. And uh, like I've talked about these 15 principles of self-realization, and where it came from was I was directed to listen to a lady named Sarah Landon, who's a spiritual guide. She talks about like soul roles, as well as sort of like self-realization, sort of self-realization and the principles. But she's also connected as a guide to the council, which is like enlightened beings that work with her. She's a channel for this. And I've been sort of like integrating some of these sort of like principles within my own reality. And with all things, when you start sort of like aligning and sort of like things that resonate with you, you should always come from your own truth. And I think this is really important because we've all got our own sort of like infinite self, and we've all got our own soul, and we've all got our own intuition, wisdom, and guidance. And although you're directed to something, there will be your own way of interpreting it. And this is where I say about speaking your own truth. We all have our own vibration, our own frequency, and our own sense of like key of consciousness and oneness that we all bring to this reality. And as we're so this is our purpose, to bring our own frequency and our own vibration. It's part of oneness, but we've all got like a key consciousness. Like our soul has got a purpose, and it's come here for a reason. It's part of a collective vision, but it's also part of an individual vision as well. They're both the same. The individual and the collective are still oneness. They're not separate. They are part of the whole, and they're part of source creation and source frequency. I was going to talk a bit about the 15 principles because I think some of them are really, really good. Sort of like like the first one is I've talked about this before, where it says you're everything you wish to be, you already are. So it's saying you don't need to get anywhere. You don't need to actually get anywhere. You've already got that source energy, that source vibration, that source frequencies within you. You are creation and you are creator, and that's another principle. That you are the creator of your own creation, your own reality, and what you focus on creates your realities. It's all about energy, it's all about frequency, it's all about vibration and consciousness, and it's the understanding of this. Everything is, another one is it talks about, um, you know, all of your power is in the now moment. So again, it's about this frequency of oneness. It's about this frequency of being here now. Being here now is one of the most sort of like powerful frequencies that, for me personally, is coming more and more into sort of like understanding and like being more conscious of it. That being here now is when you're in your own frequency, you're in your own consciousness, and you're in oneness. Everything is being created, and it flows through you, for you, and as you. And again, that's another principle. Everything is working out for you, or it's not sort of it's not something that is happening to you. It's happening like for you, but it's also being created from you. And this is the understanding of the shift of consciousness for many of us as we start to become more self-realized. um you know you get more of what you are, not what you need. So like in creation, again, it's like if you want something, you have to create it within yourself first. And this is another principle. And it's like the understanding that that you're doing this, that you are the creator of your own creation, again, which is a principle. So it's about this understanding of living consciously and living more aligned to your source energy and your source vibration, knowing that this is all coming from you, through you, and as you. Another one is about choiceless. It's like don't make any big decisions in your life. So everything should be choiceless. And this seems like quite a statement to make, but what it really is saying is, um, if something is a big decision, you may not have all the wisdom, all the insight, all the awareness or consciousness that you need in that moment to make the decision. But also, like, I was talking about this the other day, and this is something that's sort of like come many times in my life, in my reality, is when I become fearful or worried about something. I resist it. And when I resist it, sometimes I close down, or I don't open up, or I don't become this open channel to receive what's needed. And the biggest sort of like the biggest shift sometimes is making that decision, because once you make that decision, you're not resisting anything anymore. What you're doing is you're then opening up to the infinite potential and the infinite flow of energy to come into your reality, come into your life. So again, this is sort of like, again, if you resist one thing, well, this is the principle, you resist everything. And that makes sense, because if you resist one thing, you're basically, you're not allowing this energy, this infinite potential to flow into the now moment, into your reality, into your sort of vibration, your energy field, your frequency, your consciousness. What you're doing is you're limiting your energy, and again, everything is, again, she talks about like limitation, and this is what goes on, when we start sort of like looking at ourselves, or being fearful about something, then what we're doing is we're limiting our energy, and we're limiting our consciousness, and we're limiting our ability as channels to receive that energy from source energy, source information, source reality, source vibration, source frequency, but also like from we're limiting ourselves to be these open channels to receive from our infinite selves, and our infinite selves still live within the the formless reality, within source reality. Like there's a formless reality which is all consciousness, vibration, frequency, pure energy, pure light, pure frequency, and our infinite selves still live, not live, they're aligned. They're aligned with that. They're still vibrating in that. And this is why when people say about sort of connecting, well, they say higher self, I say infinite self. And again, I use a lot of different words, because that's what works for me. Again, this is when I was saying earlier about speaking your truth. Don't ever be afraid to speak what resonates with you, what makes sense to you, because this is your truth, and all that matters within this reality is, you know is your truth, is your vibration, your frequency. This is what creates your reality. We don't affect, in a sense, we don't have control over anybody else. All we have control over is ourselves. So this is why it's important that you align with your infinite self, and you speak your truth, and you walk your path. And remember as well, when I've talked about some of these things before, I mean, I've struggled in the past. These insights are about me just sharing sort of insights and awareness of my own experience and my own reality. And I've struggled in the past, where when I first started coming into this sort of like way of being, being my on my sort of like spiritual path, as they say. I looked at a lot of other people around, and when I first started, I looked at other people, and I looked at how they were, what their pathways were, and I had quite a limited view in the first place, because I always thought, well, why am I not like them, or why don't I feel that way, or why do I not express that way, or why am I not doing it the way they're doing it? And I sort of like, I've realized as I've gone longer down, or like further down this path, or become more conscious and more aware, and spoke my own truth. All paths and all realities are connected, but they're all purposes as well. Each and every one of these playing out is somebody else's soul's purpose, but they're also linked to cycles of consciousness and creation as well, in this reality, in this time. So although was something at one time was working then, there's now been sort of like integrated in different awareness and consciousness now. So what was working then isn't necessarily not working, but what was playing out in the vibration and frequency of reality in this world isn't necessarily, you know where the consciousness is now. And it's like each and every one of us are evolving, and each and every one of us are expanding, as we sort of like expand in that eternal now moment, and we become more conscious and more aware and expand more. Then we start to receive different states of consciousness. And there's guides, and there's beings, and there's universal teachers working from those formless dimensions all the time, in this reality, in this time, in this age now. But don't forget, age or time or anything like that, again, is limited, because it's the now moment, it's this eternal moment, it's this oneness moment. So all beings are working at once, in one vibration, in one frequency, in one, in infinite states of consciousness, but in source creation and source reality. And this is what's happening in different sort of like formless realities. They're working with us. These beings are working with us, and they are us and we are them. It's just that we're in a human form at the moment, but we are them still. They are us. We are the same frequency with the same consciousness with the same vibration. It's just that our purpose is to be here now and bring this state, these keys of consciousness, these states of consciousness here. And this is why all of us are channels. Every single one of us are a channel, because we've all got infinite selves that are connected to these formless realities that are conscious, that have consciousness, infinite consciousness that is connected to source energy, and the many infinite states of consciousness where these different beings of light energy are working with, with source reality to bring oneness in all dimensions and all realities in all consciousness. And this is what's going on with many of us at the moment. And this is why sort of part of our many souls are awakening. They're awakening to the understanding of souls roles and realities, but they're integrating consciousness. Everything is consciousness. Everything is creation. Nothing is nothing is anything but consciousness and creation. And and in these infinite realms, these infinite beings know this. They consciously create things at will. You know, create it. Here now, instantly. It's just that we're in a physical form, and it takes a while for some of the formless sort of energy from these formless realms of dimensions to come down, or to be aligned with our reality, with our consciousness when we're in this dimension, this world. And we're starting to sort of like shift. And this is why these self-realization principles are really good. It's like I used to, again, that I was talking about sort of like states of consciousness and integration. Before it was the universal laws, but I feel like again that is the universal laws that was the wisdom and the pathway then, and now there's a new pathway. And again, this is why I feel like I've been sort of like directed and connect with like the 15 principles of self-realization, because they're conscious ways of living, they're conscious ways of being. And being is being in different states of consciousness. When understanding beingness is understanding that there's many infinite levels of consciousness, and they're available always. They're always available. Nothing is not accessible to you. It always will be, because you are a pure being of light and consciousness. You have an essence of source energy, and wherever there's source energy, there's infinite creation, there's infinite consciousness, and there's infinite awareness. Nothing is ever separate. It's always aligned and unified. It's just that within this form, we sort of limit ourselves because we're living through different sort of dimensional experiences. We sometimes, we're looking at through a third, fourth, and fifth, and then six is where you start to really open up as this channel. And we've been like, we're living in different dimensions because we're seeing the out there world. There's nothing out there. This is one of the biggest sort of like things that have shifted my consciousness. There's nothing out there. It's all here. It's all here now in me, and in my consciousness, in my energy, in my creation. Everything out there. If I attach to something out there, then I'm limiting myself, because I'm seeing something outside of me that is creating, when it's all comes from me, through me, and as me, because I am creation and creation is me. So it's like this is one of the biggest shifts I need, and I'm still doing this. It's like when I talk about self-realization, see, people still use the word self-mastery, and I don't really sort of like resonate with self-mastery, because mastery is like, again, to me it's like saying there's ones that you master something and you arrive. You never arrive in this journey, in this expansion. It's ever evolving, it's ever expanding in this eternal moment. You cannot arrive anywhere, because it's always evolving. And it's the same like when not in this reality, in the next realities. you know this is what infinite means. It doesn't begin and it doesn't end. It just continuously flows, and it flows, and expands consciously. And this is what it is. In this moment, in this now moment, you have a choice to expand or constrict. If you constrict, it's because you're seeing limitation, and you're resisting something. But if you expand, you open yourself to infinite possibilities, and know, like that first principle says, you're everything you wish to be, you already are. That everything is available to you. Nothing is not available to you. you know, because you are part of this infinite, you're an infinite being, of this infinite channel of source creation and source consciousness. And it's a blessing that and you know, and that you were born with this, you know. And this is what makes, when people talk about this reality in this time and this age, and this dimension, this world, this is what, you know, all souls see the joy of, you know, that there's expansion, there's inspiration, there's creation always available. And it's a gift. It's a gift we've all been given. You know, we're all been born with from source. And you know, this is where, you know, we should feel blessed and we should be grateful that we're here now, and that we're here now in this moment of this infinite powerful moment, and we get to play in it, we get to create in it. And this is like beautiful. It's really 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 sort of like powerful and beautiful. And allows us to design our lives through consciousness and creation to what we want, what we feel. And like again, this principle that talks about you get more of what you are, not what you need. So again, it's like if you want something, create it within you, because once you create it within you, then it becomes your reality. And this is where, you know, people used to talk about like transmutation. Well, transmutation is talking about going from one state of being to another, like vibrate one frequency to another. It's just consciousness. It's just consciousness. And it's the consciousness is changing because you're adding energy to it, because you're creating it. It's not coming from anywhere else but from you, through you, as you, and for you. You're creating it. You are the creator of your own reality. Again, this is a principle, and these keep flowing in. And the more I look at these principles and the more I look at these kind of stuff, this is where oneness comes in, because actually nothing's separate and everything is interlinked and everything is part of the same whole. There is nothing separate. It's all unified. And again, the more I go down this path, the more I just see oneness in everything, because it can't be anything else but oneness, because everything's part of the same whole. And even if you're restricted, you still know that within that moment of being restricted, and expanding, you know, that you know, in the restricted moment, you still know that energy is available. You feel that consciousness, you know. And you also, the fact that you've, in that moment when you're restricted, you feel like heavy, or you feel like, if you're feeling fear or worry or doubt, you're feeling heavy and you're feeling overwhelmed with something. But you also know in that moment that you can expand, and then you can create something new, and you know that's always available. It's available. So the oneness is still there. The power of, you know, the power of that now moment is still there. The being here now is still there. It's available. So anytime you can dissolve, you can release, you can heal, um you know, you can create, because you're a creator. And this is the sixth dimension, that you are a creator, you know, that you are connected to this infinite self of formless energy and dimensions that you can access. And all you have to do is raise your frequency and your consciousness to that level to receive. And then you'll receive infinite potential, and your reality and your dimension of your life will expand and align to what your purpose is. So that's the insight for today. Have a great day. Please subscribe, like, share, comment. Like I said, have a great day.